Hello, this is And I Am Kitty Hollywood. Now, today's review is of a film that even if you hate musicals, I fail to see how it can't raise a smile on that face. It is MGM's 1952 ode to joy, Singin' in the Rain. It was produced by Arthur Freed. It was directed by Stanley Donen and Gene Kelly. The cinematography is by Harold Rossen. The costumes are by Walter Plunkett. The screenplay is by Betty Comden and Adolph Green. The music is by Arthur Freed, Nasir Herb Brown and Roger Edens. It stars Gene Kelly, Debbie Reynolds, Donald O'Connor, Gene Hagen and Cyd Charisse on the side. It's about the coming of sound to Hollywood. It's about two stars. It's about a wannabe. Legs, dancing and funny ensue.
Oh, Pierre, you shouldn't have come. You were flirting with danger.
What's this wire doing here? It's dangerous.
It's a tight story, which is funny really, given that Arthur Freed went to running musical comedy team Betty Comden and Adolph Green and said, okay, here's your next project. It's going to be called Singin' in the Rain. It's going to use all my old back catalogue. Write it. So, famously, they've said that for a long time, all they knew was that somewhere, somehow, somebody was going to be singing and somewhere it was going to be raining. But all of the music, Freed and Nasir Herb Brown's music, was written in the 20s, and so it seemed to make sense to set the film in the 20s. One thing led to another. Voila. This was made pretty soon after the success of An American in Paris. It was huge. And they were thinking, yeah, we'll use Oscar Levant again as the best friend in this film. But the more interested Kelly became in Singin' in the Rain, they realised it was really going to be a dance focus that was required for this, and so they offered the role to Donald O'Connor. And Donald O'Connor is amazing. I love him. He is the best thing. You watch Moses Supposes and Make 'em Laugh, and it's beautiful. I mean, he'd been acting since he was pretty much a baby, but this film really shot him out there into the public consciousness, and it is so worth it. Now, with Make 'em Laugh, there needed to be a standalone O'Connor musical number, and there wasn't really anything in the back catalogue that fit his talents in particular. And so they said, you're going to have to write a song. Can you make it a bit like Cole Porter's Be a Clown from The Pirate? So Arthur Freed went home and came back with Make 'em Laugh, which effectively is Be a Clown. And oddly enough, nobody got him for plagiarism. Nobody... if they picked up on it, they didn't say anything. Anyhow, it's the weirdest thing.
You'll get a bigger hand if you can stand on your head. Be a clown, be a clown, be a clown.
Make 'em laugh. Don't you know everyone wants to laugh?
But with Make 'em Laugh, Donald O'Connor was apparently, and God knows how, but apparently a 4-pack a day smoker at this point in time. And so he performed Make 'em Laugh, half killed himself and went to bed for 3 days after he'd shot it. And then he discovered that they'd accidentally destroyed all of the footage and he had to do it again. And he did. Now, Debbie Reynolds was chosen over quite a few more established stars, people like June Allison, but she had made quite an impression just before this. She was either 17 or 19, depending on who tells the story, when she made this film. She was a gymnast, she was strong, but she didn't know how to dance. So, Gene Kelly's 2 assistants took her aside for 3 solid months of dance camp. And the results, well, they're in the film. Now, she's said quite famously that the two hardest things she ever did in her entire life were childbirth and singing in the rain. Gene Kelly is extraordinary. He was an incredible performer, dynamic, wonderful, but he was also a perfectionist and a harsh taskmaster, and I think Debbie Reynolds had a difficult time making this film. I mean, it makes sense. He always gave 150% to any film, and he expected that everybody else did the same thing. But there's a story of when she'd finished shooting, or when they'd all finished shooting Good Morning, she took her shoes off and her feet were bleeding and she had to be carried from the set. Now, getting on to Jean Hagen, she is incredible as Lena Lamont. They'd written it with Judy Holliday in mind, but in between the writing and the filming, Judy Holliday had become famous with Born Yesterday, and she'd kind of famoused herself out of this supporting role. Jean Hagen had been Judy Holliday's understudy, and she was picked up, and she's incredible in this. She was also a serious actress, and you watch her in serious things and you sort of sit there trying to fit the two people together. It is almost impossible to do, but she's extraordinary.
What's wrong with the way I talk? What's the big idea? Am I dumb or something?
No.
And interestingly enough, she had quite a deep and mature speaking voice normally. So all the scenes when Debbie Reynolds is dubbing over Lena Lamont, it's actually Jean Hagen dubbing Debbie Reynolds, dubbing Lena Lamont.
Our love will last till the stars turn cold.
All right, Kathy, go ahead.
Nothing can keep us apart. Our love will last till the stars turn cold.
That's great, perfect. Cut.
This movie was also young Cyd Charisse's breakout movie, and she is dynamite to watch. She's just extraordinary. Those legs. Anyway, she used to say that her husband would always be able to tell if she'd been dancing with Gene Kelly when she came home at the end of the day because she had bruises all over her body. But this led to the bandwagon, Brigadoon, etc., etc., etc. So I'm so pleased that she was there and it happened and it became a thing. Rita Moreno is also in this film. She plays Zelda Zanders, and she obviously went on to be Anita in West Side Story and many other things aside. What else? Gene Kelly, during the filming of the title sequence, the incredible title sequence, was apparently sick as a dog, had a fever. How could you even tell? The black and white movie sequences for A Royal Rascal were apparently colour-stripped bits of The Three Musketeers, Gene Kelly's earlier role. And there is a moment where there's a fight scene on the stair and the door opens and you can see Lana Turner for a split second as she was in The Three Musketeers. And then it goes close up on Gene Hagen, so it's an interesting little thing there. The film is just perfection. It is tight, it is funny, even today to modern audiences. Watch it for the 1920s fashion montage. Thank you, Walter Plunkett. Watch it to see Millard Mitchell play R.F. Simpson because he's hilarious. Watch it to watch Gene Kelly get on a motorcycle and ride off a cliff. Watch it because I don't think it's possible to get this perfect a film. It is lightning in a bottle. Singing in the Rain, 10 out of 10.